all love games. Whether played with a controller, cards, or a board, there's a ton of games we all like to play. Some of them, however, aren't exactly the kind you want to play with your parents in the room. From games that are overly violent to sexual to just morally inappropriate, odds are we've played a few that we wouldn't want to enjoy anywhere near our mom or dad. Many of these are just common sense, but make sure to hit that subscribe button before seeing if there are any games you didn't know about. HuniePop. Described as being a dating sim and puzzle game all in one, HuniePop doesn't appear like a dangerous game to play near your parents. At first. Once the sexually explicit pictures and orgasm sounds start playing, we think things will get uncomfortable for everyone pretty fast. You see, basically the whole point of HuniePop is to solve puzzles in games in order to score with your date. Think of it like Bejeweled or Candy Crush, just with a solid dose of adult anime content. Divorce, the game! We all know you shouldn't play adult-rated games in front of children because it may put ideas in their head. Well, we think the reverse is true of Divorce, the game. As you can see, this card game involves everything from divvying up your belongings, to fighting over the kids, to using lawyers to duke it out with your ex-spouse. Okay, there's nothing violent or sexual here, but are you really sure you want to put any ideas into your parents' heads? Just think, you and your card game could be the nudge that pushes them right over the edge. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. At first you might be thinking, that's a rather dumb inclusion. After all, first-person shooters are pretty mainstream now, and lots of kids play them around and even with their parents. However, in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the level No Russian could be a little bit of trouble. You see, this level involves you taking part in a massacre at a Russian airport where you and your team slaughter unarmed civilians by the dozens. It was controversial when it first came out, and given the steady stream of school, theater, and other mass shootings, we think your parents might not fully approve. Manhunt series. Rockstar Games have a reputation for making some pretty controversial games, and the Manhunt series definitely falls into that category. If you're looking to shock your mother or get a scolding from your dad, then fire up one of these games and let them watch for a few minutes. Whether playing as a death row inmate or a mental patient, the game boils down to executing people in graphic ways. The more brutal the execution, the higher the in-game reward. Needless to say, these games were magnets for lawsuits and negative government attention, so we can only imagine how your parents will react. Dead or Alive Extreme 3. Considering this game franchise started out as primarily a volleyball game franchise, the title is a little bit misleading. After all, there is no violence in this game at all. What you do get in Dead or Alive Extreme 3 is a bunch of minigames and features which all revolve around characters in bikinis. Sure, you can play volleyball, but you can also dress your girls up in various skimpy outfits, give them tan lines, do photo shoots of them in various locations, or even have them suffer a bathing suit malfunction. Needless to say, your parents might start worrying about you if they catch you playing this. Bumps and Grinds. Quite simply put, you do not want to play this board game in front of or anywhere near your parents. With a name like this, you might think it's something along the lines of Chutes and Ladders. You couldn't be more wrong. Bumps and Grinds is basically a drinking and stripping game. The goal is to be the last man or woman standing with their clothing still on. But hey, if you're the kind of family who loves playing all their games together, you can't say we didn't warn you. South Park: The Stick of Truth. This RPG game from the creators of South Park basically puts you inside the cartoon. As you'd expect, the humor can get kinda crass at times, which could create a rather awkward moment with your parents. Sure, there's the usual profanity and sexual innuendo, but that's just the beginning. However, if you don't think your parents would mind seeing you dodge testicles while you battle a gnome, perform an abortion on Stan's dad, or fight off an army of Nazi zombie aborted fetuses, then go right ahead. Mortal Kombat X. Martial arts-based combat games have been around for decades. That said, Mortal Kombat raised the bar when it came to gore and controversy. The latest Mortal Kombat X takes things to a whole new level with finish-off or fatality moves you might not want to perform in front of your parents. These include ramming someone's head into a saw, pulling out their innards, chopping off their face, or even taking a selfie with your mutilated foe. It's the kind of stuff that just might make your parents call in some professional help. Cards Against Humanity. Sure, many kids played this with their parents, but we bet there are more than a few times they wished they hadn't. Cards Against Humanity is an over-the-top card matchup game where players choose a response to a seemingly harmless question or fill in the blank. Of course, most of the responses are pretty over the top. After all, we think crafting a witty response that involves references to abortion, incest, masturbation, and the Holocaust is just what you need to ensure your parents never look at you the same way again. Grand Theft Auto 5. You just knew we had to give a nod to this Rockstar gem. While we could have included nearly any game in the series, GTA 5 deserves special mention because, well, it's the newest and the most over-the-top one yet. There's all the usual stuff like randomly shooting people, stealing cars, robbing stores, and soliciting prostitutes. But throw in a visit to a strip club or a round of torturing an in-game character, and we think your parents are going to want to have a little talk. You could just obey all the laws while you play the game, but what's the fun in that? Well, those are definitely games that could create some rather awkward moments if your parents happen to be around. Maybe you should play fewer games and fill that time with more videos from the richest. As always, remember to subscribe and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye!